Welcome back, my friends, to the motorbike show that never ends. It's hello from him, from somewhere else. I'd like you to meet my 1958 Royal Enfield Constellation 700. And here she is. And she goes by the name of Boudica. Now then, Boudica, who was once the queen of the Iceni tribe of ancient Britons who resisted the Roman occupation in about AD 70. A fitting name for a magnificent British motorcycle. Now, the Constellation first appeared in 1958, which is what this bike is, and was a performance machine to compete with the Triumph Bonneville, which was enjoying enormous success. Now, the previous bikes were the Super Meteor and before that the Meteor, and they beefed this engine up by an increase in the compression ratio, high lift cams, and a different carburetor. Power was about 51 horsepower, which was a few horsepower in excess of the Triumph Bonneville. Now, this bike didn't always look like this. When I first got her, she'd been off the road for many years, and this is her last tax discs of 73. So, approaching 40 years. So here we have her, the day that I brought her back. The terrier busy there, getting the mice out of the fairing. In the back of the pickup, you can see she was in pieces, a true basket or a cardboard box case, if you like. There's the original tank and the fairing. See the engine, remnants of the magneto. A bit more there. The engine was in one piece, but that really didn't mean much. Rusty wheels, etc., etc. Took one head and one barrel off to see the state of the engine. Didn't like what I saw. Piston had been put in backwards. You can see there it says front, and that was facing the rear, and the inlet valve had been hitting the lip of the piston there. Not good. And also it was a mishmash of parts. The front brake operating arms were of a different length, and so I decided to do a complete mechanical rebuild. Frame was stripped down to bare metal, all the welds and castings checked, and a rebuild commenced from there. Here you see the engine going in and being put together. Getting a little closer. Modification I made was I fitted the bike with an air filter inside the left-hand toolbox. I rewired the bike myself and put fuses down in there where they're easy to get to. We're approaching completion. There's another shot of her, and there she is on her maiden voyage out on the road in September of 2021. I'd bought the bike in June of that year, late June of that year, so a 5-month rebuild, which is not bad considering the state of the country at the time. In the throes of COVID, nobody wanted to work, etc., etc. But thanks to Hitchcock's and Monty's Classic Bike Parts and one or two others, we managed to get her done. Okay, so the remit for this bike was to use as many parts, original parts, as I could, because it was a mishmash of parts. There was Meteor, Super Meteor, Constellation and Interceptor parts in the old girl. It would have been very expensive to restore everything to new, and also kind of counterproductive, because I wanted people to see a bike that was in good working condition and probably would have been maintained this way by a careful owner had she not been neglected and put into boxes. So, starting at the front, all new bearings and seals in the wheels, in the front forks, they were renewed. Although they're the original sliders, but new stanchions which were rusty, new springs which are actually different lengths. Your front brake is your typical Royal Enfield brake of the time, a double-sided brake. This side was a Meteor and the far side was a Constellation. I put a different size arm on, so both arms are the same size. Original wheel rims were capped. They're not cosmetically perfect, they were a little rusty, and I gave them a splash of paint. Gives them a sort of a aerial red hunter pre-war type look. Original fenders or mud guards, a little bit of welding happening here and a few dings knocked out here, but still serviceable. Polished them up, gave them a coat of my super secret beeswax preparation, put a red stripe on too, same colour as the tank, smarten her up a bit. This is a casket that came with the bike. Not entirely sure it's the right one because it's more reminiscent of the Bullets and the earlier twins. I have seen Constellations with a much deeper bulge here for the pilot lights or the tiger eyes, whichever you want to call them. I fitted LED lights in here and they're very bright and very good, and I think they actually serve a purpose, whereas the old-fashioned ones didn't. Fitted LED flashers too. I think it's important that you have flashers, turn signals on a modern bike, on an old bike, because modern drivers are largely morons and they're not used to seeing hand signals. They're not used to looking for ordinary signals either, some of them. Yeah, the Connie had a steering damper fitted as standard. The Speedo was renovated by Timeless Motorcycles of Nottingham. This was a mess and they fixed it up and sent it back to me, and it's fantastic. What a great job they did. The tank, after I'd knocked a couple of dings out, polished up the chrome, was quite serviceable, so we gave it a splash of rattle can red, and it turned out a very nice red. And it's not as bright as this in real life. The camera makes it look a more orangey red, when in actual fact it's more of a maroony type red. Very nice. Chrome's got a few crazes in it, but that's okay. New tank badges from Hitchcock's. Now let's talk about the engine a little bit. We stripped her all down. I didn't like the state of that piston, but on cleaning and measuring it was absolutely perfect. So filed the top off and put her in with some new rings. Bores were mic'd, they were okay. The crank was mic'd, that was fine. It was 10th thou under, so we put new big end shells in. The mains were replaced. They were okay, but we replaced them because they're 66 years old. The heads were done by a local engineering company, specialised in racing engines, did an excellent job. Could have done it myself, but I didn't have the necessary valve seat cutter, and they did all that for me and installed new valve guides, new valves, new springs, collars and collets. Camshafts were checked, they were fine. New 12-volt alternator. I did try to use the original, but wasn't happy with the output I got from it, so I went with a 12-volt Lucas Prince of Darkness alternator, which actually works very well. What else is in there? New primary chain, and it has an interceptor clutch which has more plates and is heavier duty than the Connie, and a different operating system. It has a rod coming in from the other side, more conventional, whereas the Connie had the cable going in to the case and then a scissor arrangement applied. The clutch wasn't a good idea, and cables were known to break and bits to get caught in the priming. As regards performance, like I said, 51 horsepower, and this bike in Super Meteor form used to do very well in races at the time, and Bob McIntyre was leading, I believe it was the 59 race or the 58 race against Mike Harewood by quite a few minutes, and would have run the race but for the tank splitting. And he eventually came second after they got the tank fixed. So lots of power, would show a clean pair of heels to most bikes of its era. The magneto I repaired, it was in parts, like Lucas K2F, and it was a bit of a job, but I managed to get it all done. But the one thing I couldn't do was measure the power of the magnets, and although it was working and the bike ran, it was a bit reluctant to start, as all magneto bikes are, and I didn't want to be kicking it for half an hour a day. So I put a Thor Spark ignition system on, which is an electronic ignition system. So we've got a pickup in here under the cover there, and the signal goes back to a dual points coil, a double coil in there with two HT leads which come out the top, go to the top of the engine. Oh, here they are. Here. Actually, no, they come out the bottom. There we go. Get your facts right. These are the breathers. This one is for the upper crankcase, and then this one is for the primary case, but it's also it also breathes through into the crank. So the lower crankcase breathes into here, and also this one here is the breather off the oil tank. So two of them feed onto the chain, throw a bit of mist onto the chain, and then this one feeds all the way to the back of the bike there, like it would on a racing bike. Carburetor is a monoblock. It's a 389/55 monoblock. It's not original. The original would have been a AML TT10 carburetor, which is more of a racing carburetor, a bit troublesome. So in 1959 they went to a twin 389 monoblock system, but this bike was retrofitted by a previous owner with this 389 single carb, and seems to work okay. I've stripped the carb down, it's in good condition, so I'm going to go with that for now. There is an option to change it for a 30mm concentric or maybe a Makuni. It's the standard size at the moment, 1 3/16, as would have been the TT carb. Moving back, we've got the old pig sticker side stand, which didn't come with the bike because this bike had originally been a sidecar tug, and that was one of the sidecar attachment points. So this is actually an Indian Army pig sticker side stand, and I'm not going to paint it because I like the khaki colour. Yeah, like I said, the bike was a sidecar tug, and I'll show you the original tyres. So these, square section, that's a Dunlop Sidecar Major, and this is a Dunlop Universal block tread. Neither are available anymore, and as I've no sidecar, would have loved a sidecar, but that disappeared decades ago. And I fitted these, I don't know, block tread tyres on, which are the closest to the original I could find. Okay, going to the back, we have got the original mudguards again. Cleaned them up, used my beeswax on them. Still got patina. Some people call it rust. Original chain guard, original brake hub with a good drum in it. So I just relined that, as I did reline the fronts. Obviously new wheel bearings, new swing arm bearings, Hagon shocks. I had one good original shock, but that's all I had, so I went with some new Hagons. Original number plate holder, original light unit, and even the original silver and black number plate. Silver and black as they should be. Who likes reflective ones? Not me. Seat was garbage, so I ripped it apart, managed to salvage the base. So I've got a new cover from Hitchcock's and sent it off to a local guy for him to put the stuffing in. He did do it, but it took him ages, and the seat is not all that good. I think it needs thicker padding, so next time I'd probably go to Leighton's and get that done. But I think it's as good as Royal Enfield ever intended it to be. Did I mention the tank? I don't know. I'll mention it again. Yeah, we managed to salvage the tank pretty good. Chrome is good. New badges from Hitchcock's. New paint by me. Slightly different to the original Royal Enfield paint scheme, but you'd have to be an expert to notice. On the other side, let's go around this way, we'll talk a bit about the gearbox. We should talk about the gearbox. I don't really want to because it was a bit of a painful experience. We did rebuild the gearbox. It was totally knackered. The lay shaft was flopping about. Something awful. This is it. The lay shaft is supported on bushes, and this is the state of them. Oops, wrong way. So you can see the amount of play in that bush. How this bike ever moved, I don't know. This is a newer one, let's say, so that goes on, and it's pretty tight. So the original was crap, and this actually was blue. It was a bluish colour, you can just see it there. I put another lay shaft in. I could have used this one again. I did. I'll do another video about the trouble we had with the gearbox, but I took this to the engineering company. They put it on their crankshaft grinder and took half a thou off and removed the blue. And it is good, a little rough, but it's straight. Could be used again if I have to. But another story about the gearbox is there's a mishmash of ratios in there, trials and standard ratios. So the bike has got some really weird gearing, which might have been alright for a sidecar. Definitely not alright for a road bike, and I'm going to have to change it. Inside here we replaced the chains, the timing chain and the magneto chain, and went through the oil pump. Oil pump was fine. It's got the Siamese original exhausts, and it's got a BSA A10 silencer on, which you can just about see. That's what I had lying around, and I just slapped some paint on it and shoved it on. Doesn't look out of place. Don't like Siamese exhausts. I want to put a twin system on this bike, but when I do, I won't put Constellation silencer on it. I don't like that horrible cigar shape. I'll put the earlier universal shorty types on. So that's that. That is the bike. That is the intro. I'm going to try to start it. It's pretty cold outside. There's a frost on the ground, and she's cold. So let's turn the gas on and see what happens. I can't guarantee she'll start because these old girls, they don't like to be got out of bed, do they? So, whoops, here we go. I'm almost tripping over here. Right, so advanced retard. That is a fully advanced position. That is fully retarded, so we'll just give her a little bit of retard. This is a choke. Choke is on. That is off. Put it back on. That is the ignition. It's on. Fuel's on. We'll give her a tickle. She likes a good old tickle. Don't you, Boudica? Lots of gas there. And let's go around again. Not much room in here. So here we go. Fingers crossed, ignition on. Yes. Kickstart. I'm not very good at one-handed starting, one-legged. Prefer to straddle them. But here we go. Come on, Boudica. Work with me. Oh. Yeah, so there you go. Just to prove the lights work, and they are very bright. There's the LEDs. That's the headlight. Oops. Everything comes out loose. Signals. And horn. Bit of a squeaky horn. This is the original Altet. It weighs about 10 pounds. Unfortunately, it doesn't work though. I have to try to get it going. So there we go. There is Boudica. Oh, let me show you something. Look at these drip trays. So this is a Constellation that does not leak oil. In all the 2 years of storage, while I was back in Canada, she didn't leak any oil then either. So for a certain person who lives in Suffolk, a Royal Enfield enthusiastic with a volcanic personality, this is one Connie that does not leak oil. So please be kinder to Connies. Give Connie a bit of love. So until next time, it's a goodbye from him, from a faraway place. Until next time, rubber side down, shiny side up. Take care of yourselves. Look after one another. Goodbye.